and it's kind of a delay, but there's a lot of people who are very excited about having you online. Hi, everyone. We are live right now. So we are streaming on Facebook, 3 areas. So my personal page, my business page, my private Facebook group, and YouTube. And then so later for people who can't be on here live, I'm going to put this on Instagram, and then I'm going to give a little teaser on LinkedIn because I know there's a lot of your fans on there as well. And so we are on live here with Robb Wolf. And I always like to talk a little bit. I mean, you have a podcast and you've been in the spotlight to let people come on. Hi, thanks for joining. So can you see there, Robb, on your screen? I know you're on your phone right now.
I'm not actually seeing where folks are logging in, but hello to everybody.
Okay, no problem. I'll let you know. And you guys, sorry, I apologize about the delay. We were having technical difficulties, but we made it happen, right? Or it was like, we're going to get this done. Option, resourceful. So we're on live. I'm here with Robb Wolf, and thanks for joining. There's going to be more people hopping on. And I do find too, Robb, when I come online, it doesn't show me when everybody is on. So there's more than just a showing right now, which is awesome. So
Gotcha.
Hello, you guys, welcome. So let's get into it. Let me do a little introduction of Robb Wolf, for those of you who don't know yet, and how I know Robb and Nicki. He would probably say his better half.
They're probably my better 3/4. Yeah.
Okay. And Robb and Nicki, and how I know them and why I'm bringing them on today. So a little bit of a background. I met Nicki first. Nicki and I met in prenatal yoga when we were holding the babies and we were tree posing. And she was a little bit behind in time with Zoe, right? Yeah, Zoe and I was with Mila. And I came back to tell my birth story, and I did a belly dance training and show to get ready for my home birth. And years later, we ran into each other at school because the kids ended up going to school together. And Nicki right away said, "Hey, I remember your story." And then right then and there, I latched onto you guys because you're so amazing. And we became friends from there. But then a little bit further into it, Robb and Nicki are change makers. And as soon as I got to know them more, they're down to earth. They're amazing. They're great family. They have a great family. And when my mom was going through her cancer treatments, and when I found out she was diagnosed with cancer, I tried everything under the sun with health-wise, even going gray and doing, things a lot naturally. And Robb and Nicki hooked me up with their keto program. And I mean, not only were you guys there for me mentally, because I talked, and especially with Nicki, we had some, powwows and stuff, and emotionally, but then physically, I was like, okay, I've got to get this kit, and I'm going to make sure. And really, so, and you were one of the only people that at least said out loud that you noticed that I had lost weight at one point, because I didn't need to lose weight. Mm-hmm. So you guys, I mean, Robb, he's into health. He's down to earth. He's a good person, great person, and his wife as well as family. But, this is what he's passionate about. So he notices right away when people have made changes, good or bad. So that's my introduction to Robb. Thank you, everybody, for joining. And so why don't I have you introduce yourself to everybody, who you are and what you do, why you do it.
Sure. So I was a very long time ago a cancer and autoimmunity researcher and had a pretty significant health crisis. I had ulcerative colitis at the ripe old age of 26 and was facing a potential bowel resection. And I was also looking at going to medical school. And so I knew enough about that story that it didn't really seem like a good long-term option. Like the conventional treatment for a lot of these autoimmune GI-related problems are not good. They can save your life in an acute moment, but it doesn't really offer a lot of solutions over the long haul. And through a lot of digging and investigating, I came onto this idea of an ancestral diet or a paleo type diet. And I really didn't have anything to lose at that point and gave it a shot. And it really transformed my health. And it kind of drove me in a very different direction than what I'd been looking at with kind of conventional medical school and research and whatnot. This was right around 98, 99, and around the year 2000, 2001, online, I came across this kind of wacky new workout called CrossFit. And I started following this, and a good friend of mine who's a retired Navy SEAL, he and I started doing it in his garage. And before we knew it, we had about 15 or 20 people working out with us, and we were basically coaching them. So I reached out to the founders of CrossFit and I said, hey, we want to open a facility and we want to call it CrossFit. And they said, that sounds like a great idea. And that was the first CrossFit affiliate in the world. And we went on to work both in and outside of CrossFit. I wrote what was, I guess, kind of the first New York Times bestselling book in the paleo diet genre. And there wasn't really a paleo diet book section prior to my book hitting that area. And, since then, we spent nearly 10 years in the Reno, Nevada area. I was on the board of directors of a medical clinic there that did a 3-year pilot study with the Reno Police and Fire Department, where we identified folks that were at high risk for type 2 diabetes and cardiovascular disease. And we managed to get those folks on kind of a low-carb paleo type diet, modified their sleep and exercise. And that pilot study ended up saving the city of Reno about $22 million. And so I've been working since then to try to take all this methodology and just kind of scale it and get it out to the masses and ideally help as many people as we can.
I love it. I love it. And I have books from Robb and Nicki. And when you guys left the area, Nicki hooked me up again with some of your extra books. So, and I bought your, the Paleo Solution, Wired to Eat already. And, of course, I have Sacred Cow, the new book that you came out with. So why don't you tell us, and then you also co-wrote this with Diana Rogers, right?
Yep.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about Sacred Cow?
Yeah, it's interesting. Very early in my process, I guess, of regaining my health, I started thinking about kind of more global issues, the environment and food sourcing and whatnot. And it's definitely in vogue right now to paint animal products and animal husbandry, particularly cattle, in a pretty negative light with regards to environmental concerns. And really early in this story, I started thinking about this. I was thinking about row crops and pesticides and synthetic fertilizer. And I was thinking, is that particularly sustainable versus animals grazing grass, grasslands? Like 2/3 of the world's landmass are grasslands, and really they're amenable for doing nothing other than growing grass and the animals that eat grass. And so this was nearly 20 years ago that I started thinking about that. And over the course of time, got hooked up with folks like the Savory Institute and Holistic Management International, and started looking at this in kind of a permaculture biodynamic process. And, something that we noticed, both Diana and I, was that folks would migrate into this scene because of a health crisis, hopefully get well, or at least improve their health significantly. And then they would kind of look, stand up and look around and say, well, what do I do now? And that environmental piece, that more kind of global reach piece, was a pretty logical next step for people. But there was a mountain of confusing information around this. Like, there have been a number of very kind of vegan-centric documentary films. Leonardo DiCaprio has a film, Before the Flood, where they paint animal husbandry in a pretty negative light. And unfortunately, from our perspective, not a particularly well-informed position, despite being massively well-funded, being tied in with the National Geographic Society and whatnot. So we really needed kind of a one-stop shop to address the ethical, environmental, and health considerations of a meat-inclusive diet and food system. And that's what Sacred Cow is. We worked on that for about 4 years. When we turned in the manuscript, it was about 600 pages. That book that you held up was about 280 pages. So it was a massive tome, and it's still thick enough to probably take down a moose with if you threw it hard enough. But we tried to make it both readable, but also it's a lot of complex topics. So, we had to make it readable and engaging for people that aren't steeped in soil science and things like that. But we also had to tell a fair and accurate scientific story on it. So it was a very interesting project, definitely the biggest project that I've ever taken on. And Diana also spearheaded a film with the same title, Sacred Cow, which should be out in late September.
I'm just writing that down. If you can see, I want to make sure. So late September, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, for those of you who are, well, it's a lot smaller, which I'm sure it's going to be great. I will definitely get into this mine soon here. And but the original version, if you're not into jiu-jitsu, like Rob here, you could use this as the weapon.
As self-defense. Yep, for sure.
Yep. Right, which I am into myself. But yeah, so you guys. As you can tell, Rob does his research in 4 years working on this book. And even 20 years ago is when you actually had the idea. So now you're at full circle, and it's come to fruition. So I will definitely, and one thing, personally, Rob and Nicki they've been supporters too, just by leading. I do love my animal product, and I do not thrive without it. And I've tried everything. And that's, I won't go into the whole deal, but it's from physical to energy to mental, all of it. And so it's important to know that you can get your animal product in a great way. And I'm looking forward to the film Sacred Cow so that I can be informed as well from another perspective, because that's really important. It's education, educate yourself, and then make the judgment, right?
Right. Absolutely.
So that's really, so I want you guys to, for those of you, few of you who don't know who Robb Wolf is yet, I put his information here so wherever you are, you'll see it in the information. It's different areas and different places, but you can click on his link. But Rob and Nicki also have something else that they do called the Healthy Rebellion. So let me have you talk about that briefly.
Yeah. So we, the interwebs are getting to be an interesting place, and it's oftentimes difficult to have both civil and deep conversations on different topics. Like it's just kind of an interesting environment. And we opened up the Healthy Rebellion just about a year ago now, and it's the goal of the Healthy Rebellion is to liberate 1 million people from the sick care system. We have kind of a 3-point process with that includes identifying what your metabolic health is, linking you up with some sort of a functional medicine practitioner and or health coach, and then also trying to get out of the third-party payer insurance system. Like, we're really big advocates of things like health savings accounts and even more so MediShares and health shares. And that combination, in our opinion, allows people to really take their health into their own hands. It aligns incentives in a way that keeps both we as patients and doctors as kind of stewards much more accountable and much more transparent. And so we've been growing that for the last year. That's a membership community where a good number of folks hang out and share stories. We do resets throughout the year where we'll pick the nutritional approach that we used in Wired to Eat mainly as kind of a reset. And we basically coach and steward people through that process. And we usually have several hundred people doing that each time that we spin that up. And the results so far have been really amazing.
I'm sure you guys are amazing. I'm sure they are. I love what you said too. You're liberating folks, and I love how you always say folks, liberating folks from the sick care system, because that really, and personally, my mom and I were very much alike. When I was younger, I wasn't so much, but as I've gotten older, I've really seen how much alike we are. And, she passed away at 60. And I know now that I definitely have long-term health, great practices, wonderful people, amazing people, and the support and things to follow. And I'm definitely not going to the sick care system. Because in my mind, that's exactly what it is. And I am not afraid to give my opinion anymore, because there's so many people out here. And I have people that are in my circle that follow you, who love what you do. And there's so many more people who need to be informed and want to be informed. Really, they want it. They just don't have the channel or other people speaking out. So thank you for coming on and saying that, because it's true. And there's a lot of people who really need help, and they don't know where to go.
Right.
So you guys heard it, Healthy Rebellion, and there's all kinds of options, the system, and it works. It really works. And when I did keto, I felt so much better. And I was going through my own process physically and emotionally. And so I'm not going to gush all over you guys as much anymore, but I heart these guys. I really do. And they're amazing. They're amazing people. You want to be in their community. And so why don't you, Rob, let's wrap it up here. Why don't you tell everybody how they can? Is there exactly, a place? I put the website link here, but is there somewhere in particular people can go to find you?
Yeah, maybe the best place for people to jump in if they're curious about all this stuff is the podcast, and whatever podcast distribution platform you may prefer, you will find the Healthy Rebellion Radio. I will warn people, I have an extreme potty mouth, particularly when I get fired up on a topic. So if you're off put from someone who's very passionate, who's fighting for your life, but also curses, then my podcast is not for you. We actually have a disclaimer that says if you don't like cursing, then maybe Disney Plus is a better place for you to go. But that aside, whatever type of health topic you may be interested in, I've been chipping away at this stuff in a podcast format for 12 years. And I think that we've had something like 30 million downloads at this point total and whatnot, which is awesome. But it's rare that there's a topic that we have not discussed. So like if it's hypothyroidism or gluten intolerance, or whatever the topic is, if you put my name in and then that topic, chances are you will find a podcast where we do the best job we can to unpack that.
You do. And, I've even seen, and of course I'm part of your email list. So I get the emails and I stay informed, and, they do, in health, but also to, Rob and Nicki are on together. So it's husband and wife, and you guys live it, and you see them interact and try different things. I think I even saw Ziva meditation on there.
Yep.
At one point you guys talk about, and she's freaking amazing. So, these guys aren't afraid to take risks. They're not afraid to be different. And that's what I want for you. Don't be the same. Don't be the same like everyone else. Be different. Be part of the change-making system. Get out of the sick care system and get into the healthcare, real healthcare, programs and systems and with people. So so whatever podcast the people get into to get to the Healthy Rebellion Radio, that's where they should go. And then just type in Healthy Rebellion Radio and then other health subjects or your name. And even Nicki Violetti's name, that should come up too. So Nicki and Rob, they've been married. They are married. They have a wonderful family, but she goes by Nicki Violetti. So you can type in her name as well and find them there. So Is there anything else you want to add before we sign off here?
No, just a real treat being able to check in with you, and can't wait to get back to Reno and see y'all in real life.
Yes, I can't wait. Yeah, let me know. We will make time, definitely. And I do have somebody here that I want to talk to. So really quickly, before I let you go, Laura Howe, you get a free Sacred Cow book. So put in the comments that you've seen this, and I will get this book over to you, because I know that you are you follow Rob too, and you were really curious about this in particular spotlight. So let me know, and I will get this over to you right away. So thanks, Rob. Give love to Nicki and the girls for me, and let me know when you guys come in town. I'd love to see you.
Sounds great. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.